The silence is deafening when you stand before the Great Pyramid of Giza at dawn. As the first rays of sunlight strike its ancient limestone blocks, you can almost feel the weight of millennia pressing down upon you. For over 4,000 years, this colossal monument has guarded its secrets with unwavering determination, challenging every generation that dares to unlock its mysteries. But something extraordinary has just happened, something that has sent shockwaves through the archaeological community and left even the most skeptical researchers questioning everything they thought they knew about this ancient wonder. Recent cutting-edge scanning technologies have penetrated deeper into the pyramid's heart than ever before, revealing discoveries so startling that they've been met with both excitement and suspicion. These aren't just minor architectural details or forgotten storage chambers. What these scans have uncovered threatens to rewrite the very foundation of ancient Egyptian history itself. Tonight, we're going to explore revelations that have been decades in the making, discoveries that powerful figures in archaeology have fought to suppress, and evidence that suggests the Great Pyramid's true purpose may be far more extraordinary than anything we've been told. The story begins with muons, cosmic particles that rain down upon Earth from the depths of space. These subatomic messengers carry with them the ability to penetrate solid matter, revealing hidden structures that have remained concealed for thousands of years. When an international team of scientists deployed advanced muon tomography inside the Great Pyramid in 2017, they expected to perhaps clarify some minor architectural details. Instead, they discovered what may be the archaeological find of the century. Deep within the pyramid's core, the scans revealed a massive void, an enormous chamber that appears to be roughly the same size as the Grand Gallery itself. This hidden space, located approximately 30 meters above the Grand Gallery, shows no signs of collapse or structural damage. It appears to be an intentional, carefully constructed chamber that has remained sealed and untouched since the pyramid's construction. But here's where the mystery deepens. The chamber doesn't align with any known architectural purpose of Egyptian tombs. It's positioned in a location that suggests it served a specific, possibly technological function, rather than a ceremonial one. The void's precise dimensions and strategic placement hint at an engineering sophistication that challenges our understanding of ancient Egyptian capabilities. Dr. Richard Thompson, one of the lead researchers on the muon tomography project, remembers the moment they first confirmed the readings. The data was so unexpected, so unprecedented, that the team spent months verifying their equipment before they dared announce their findings. Even then, they chose their words carefully, describing it simply as an unknown void, rather than speculating about its purpose. The Egyptian authorities' response was swift and decisive. Within weeks of the announcement, access to the pyramid for further investigation was severely restricted. Requests from research teams worldwide to explore this newfound chamber were denied without explanation. The official statement cited concerns about structural integrity, but many researchers found this reasoning unconvincing, especially given the non-invasive nature of the proposed investigations. This pattern of discovery followed by restriction isn't new. It echoes a troubling trend that has persisted for decades in Egyptian archaeology, where groundbreaking findings are quickly suppressed or explained away by official authorities. The question that haunts many researchers is why these discoveries trigger such defensive responses. Beyond the main void, the muon scans revealed additional anomalies scattered throughout the pyramid structure. Smaller chambers, previously unknown passages, and what appear to be deliberate hollow spaces that serve no obvious purpose according to traditional tomb architecture. Some of these voids connect to existing chambers through narrow shafts that were previously thought to be purely symbolic. The technology also detected density variations in the pyramid's internal structure that suggest the presence of different materials that don't match the limestone and granite typically associated with the monument. Spectral analysis hints at the possibility of metal objects, possibly copper, or even more exotic materials, embedded within the pyramid's core structure. One of the most intriguing discoveries involves the Queen's Chamber, long considered a secondary burial space that was abandoned during construction. The new scans reveal that this chamber is far more complex than previously understood. Hidden behind its walls appear to be additional rooms, connected by a network of passages that extend deep into the pyramid's foundation. These passages don't follow the typical pattern of Egyptian tomb construction. Instead, they seem to form a systematic network, almost like the layout of a sophisticated facility rather than a burial monument. The precision of their construction, visible even through the scanning technology, suggests an engineering capability that rivals modern standards. Professor Elena Constantine, a structural engineer who analyzed the scan data, noted that the newly discovered chambers show evidence of deliberate acoustic properties. The dimensions and shapes of these voids suggest they may have been designed to amplify or resonance specific frequencies. This finding aligns with recent research into the acoustic properties of ancient monuments, suggesting that sound may have played a crucial role in the pyramid's original function. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of these revelations isn't what was found, but rather what happened next. Instead of celebrating these discoveries as significant additions to human knowledge, the archaeological establishment began a systematic campaign to downplay their importance. Publications that initially reported the findings with excitement soon published follow-up articles questioning their significance. Dr. Margaret Hayes, an independent Egyptologist who has studied the pyramid for 30 years, believes this pattern of suppression stems from more than just academic caution. She suggests that certain discoveries pose a fundamental threat to established historical narratives that support not just academic reputations, but also powerful political and economic interests. The economic implications alone are staggering. Egypt's tourism industry generates billions of dollars annually, much of it dependent on the romantic narrative of ancient pharaohs building eternal monuments to their glory. Discoveries that suggest alternative origins or purposes for these monuments could potentially disrupt this carefully cultivated image. But the implications go far deeper than tourism revenue. If the pyramid's true purpose was something other than a tomb, something technological or scientific, it would suggest that ancient Egyptian civilization possessed capabilities that mainstream archaeology has consistently denied. Such a revelation would necessitate a complete re-examination of humanity's technological development, potentially pushing back the timeline of advanced engineering by thousands of years. The scanning data also revealed something that has particularly disturbed researchers studying ancient technologies. Deep beneath the pyramid, approximately 60 meters below its base, the muon detection systems identified what appears to be a large chamber, or series of chambers carved directly into the bedrock of the Giza plateau. These subterranean spaces aren't mentioned in any historical records or previous archaeological surveys. They appear to be entirely separate from the pyramid's internal structure, yet their positioning directly beneath the monuments suggests a deliberate connection. The chambers extend far beyond the pyramid's footprint, creating what appears to be an underground complex of significant size. Geological surveys of the area conducted in the 1990s made no mention of such spaces, leading many to wonder whether these chambers have been known about for far longer than anyone has admitted. The possibility that previous generations of archaeologists discovered and then concealed these underground spaces raises troubling questions about what else might have been hidden from public knowledge. Access to this underground complex appears to be restricted not just by Egyptian authorities, but by the physical challenges of reaching it. The scanning data suggests that the chambers are sealed, with no obvious entrance points visible from the surface. However, old historical documents make cryptic references to passages that lead to the underworld beneath the Giza plateau, suggesting that ancient access routes may once have existed. The few researchers who have been permitted to study the scan data privately describe the underground chambers as showing evidence of sophisticated construction. The walls appear to be precisely carved, with right angles and smooth surfaces that suggest advanced cutting techniques. Some sections show geometric patterns that don't match any known Egyptian decorative styles, raising questions about who created these spaces and when. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a geologist who specializes in ancient engineering, analyzed the subterranean scan data and made a startling observation. The chambers appear to show evidence of water damage marks and mineral deposits consistent with periods of flooding, but the last time the Giza plateau experienced significant flooding was over 10,000 years ago, during the end of the last ice age. This timeframe pushes the possible origin of these underground chambers back far beyond the traditional date assigned to the Great Pyramid's construction. If these chambers were indeed carved before the end of the Ice Age, they would represent evidence of advanced engineering capabilities that predate known Egyptian civilization by millennia. The implications of such a timeline are staggering. It would suggest that the Great Pyramid wasn't just built by ancient Egyptians, but rather constructed on top of a much older complex that may have served an entirely different civilization. This possibility aligns with growing evidence from other archaeological sites around the world that suggests human civilization may be far older and more advanced than previously believed. But as researchers began to explore these possibilities more deeply, they encountered an increasingly familiar obstacle: official resistance. Requests to conduct ground-penetrating radar surveys to confirm the underground chambers were denied. Applications for permission to explore potential access routes were rejected without explanation. Even academic papers discussing the findings faced unusual delays and restrictions in the peer review process. The pattern of suppression became so pronounced that several researchers began to suspect coordinated efforts to prevent deeper investigation. Dr. Thompson, the lead muon researcher, reported receiving unofficial warnings about pursuing certain lines of inquiry. University funding for related projects was quietly withdrawn, and collaborative agreements with Egyptian institutions were mysteriously cancelled. This aggressive response to scientific inquiry raises profound questions about what these discoveries might reveal. If the findings were merely interesting architectural details, why would they trigger such defensive reactions? The level of resistance suggests that the implications of these discoveries may be far more significant than what's been publicly acknowledged. The scanning technology has also revealed troubling evidence about the pyramid's internal condition. Several of the newly discovered chambers show signs of recent disturbance, evidence that they may have been accessed and possibly emptied in relatively recent times. This raises the possibility that whatever these chambers once contained has already been removed, possibly decades or even centuries ago. Historical records from the early 20th century include cryptic references to secret excavations conducted at Giza by teams working under official supervision, but with minimal public documentation. These operations, often conducted during periods when public access to the site was restricted, may have targeted the very chambers that modern scanning has now revealed. If such secret excavations did indeed take place, it would explain both the current emptiness of many discovered chambers and the aggressive resistance to further investigation. The possibility that significant artifacts or technologies were removed from the pyramid and taken to undisclosed locations would represent one of the greatest archaeological cover-ups in history. The few leaked details from researchers who have seen classified scanning data describe discoveries that go far beyond empty chambers. Some reports mention the detection of metallic objects with properties that don't match any known ancient materials. Others reference geometric structures within the chambers that appear to show evidence of technological sophistication far beyond anything attributed to ancient Egypt. Dr. James Crawford, a materials scientist who was briefly granted access to some of the scanning data before his clearance was revoked, reported detecting traces of what appeared to be crystalline structures within the pyramid's core. These formations, visible only through advanced scanning techniques, showed patterns consistent with engineered rather than natural crystal growth. The implications of such findings would be revolutionary. Engineered crystals represent advanced materials science, suggesting technological capabilities that wouldn't be rediscovered until the modern era. If ancient builders indeed incorporated such materials into the pyramid's construction, it would demonstrate a level of scientific understanding that completely contradicts established historical timelines. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the recent scans involves what researchers have termed energy signatures, unusual electromagnetic readings emanating from various points within the pyramid structure. These signatures don't correspond to any known geological phenomena and appear to be artificial in nature. The electromagnetic anomalies are particularly strong around the newly discovered chambers, suggesting that these spaces may have been designed to generate, focus, or amplify some form of energy. This possibility aligns with alternative theories about the pyramid's purpose that have long been dismissed by mainstream archaeology theories that suggest the monument may have functioned as some form of technological device rather than simply a tomb. Dr. Telena Vasquez, a physicist who specializes in ancient electromagnetic phenomena, analyzed the energy signature data and made a remarkable discovery. The patterns she observed match theoretical models for resonance focusing systems, devices that could potentially amplify and direct electromagnetic energy with precise control. If the pyramid was indeed designed as some form of energy device, it would represent a technological achievement that rivals modern engineering. Such capabilities would require an understanding of physics and materials science that supposedly wasn't developed until the 19th and 20th centuries. The implications for our understanding of ancient technological development would be profound. But as research into these energy signatures intensified, the familiar pattern of suppression emerged once again. Dr. Vasquez's access to the scanning data was terminated without explanation. Her research papers on the subject were rejected by major journals. Despite their rigorous scientific methodology, funding for her continued research was withdrawn, effectively ending her investigation. The suppression of energy-related research appears to be particularly aggressive, suggesting that these findings may be considered especially sensitive. The possibility that ancient civilizations possessed advanced energy technologies would have implications far beyond academic archaeology, potentially affecting modern understanding of physics, engineering, and renewable energy development. Recent technological advances have also enabled researchers to analyze the pyramid's construction materials in unprecedented detail. Spectroscopic analysis of limestone blocks has revealed trace elements that don't match any known quarry sources in Egypt. Some blocks appear to contain mineral compositions that suggest origins from locations hundreds or even thousands of miles away. This finding raises serious questions about the logistics of pyramid construction. If building materials were indeed transported from distant locations, it implies a level of organizational capability and resource control that far exceeds what historians typically attribute to ancient Egyptian civilization. The ability to coordinate such massive transportation efforts would require administrative and technological capabilities comparable to modern industrial nations, but even more puzzling is evidence suggesting that some construction materials may not be natural stone at all. Chemical analysis of certain blocks reveals compositions consistent with artificial materials, possibly some form of ancient concrete or engineered stone. The implications of such technology would be revolutionary, as concrete wasn't supposed to be rediscovered until Roman times. Dr. Robert Chen, a materials engineer who conducted unauthorized sampling of pyramid blocks, reported finding evidence of microscopic crystalline structures that don't occur in natural limestone. These formations, visible only under extreme magnification, suggest that the pyramid's builders may have possessed nanotechnology capabilities, manipulation of matter at the molecular level. The possibility of ancient nanotechnology sounds impossible, but the evidence is difficult to dismiss. The crystalline structures show patterns of organization and regularity that occur only in engineered materials. If confirmed, such findings would represent perhaps the most significant technological discovery in human history, pushing the development of advanced materials science back by thousands of years. However, Dr. Chen's research was quickly shut down after his preliminary findings were leaked to the scientific community. His laboratory access was revoked, his samples were confiscated, and his research data was classified as sensitive material. The aggressive response to his work suggests that the implications of his discoveries may be even more significant than initially apparent. The pattern of suppression surrounding pyramid research has become so pronounced that many scientists now conduct their investigations in secret, sharing findings only within closed circles of trusted colleagues. This underground network of researchers has compiled evidence suggesting that the true nature of the pyramid may be far more extraordinary than anything officially acknowledged. According to leaked documents from this research network, the pyramid may represent the remnant of a lost technology, possibly a device designed for purposes we can barely comprehend. The precise alignment of its chambers, the electromagnetic anomalies, and the advanced materials all point toward a level of engineering sophistication that suggests capabilities beyond mere construction. Some researchers within this network have proposed that the pyramid may have functioned as some form of communication device, possibly designed to send or receive signals across vast distances. The monument's precise astronomical alignments, combined with its energy-focusing properties, would make it ideally suited for such purposes. Others suggest that the pyramid may have been designed as a power generation facility, possibly utilizing technologies based on electromagnetic principles that we're only beginning to understand. The discovery of crystalline structures within its walls supports this theory, as such materials could theoretically be used to amplify and direct electromagnetic energy. But perhaps the most intriguing theory emerging from the underground research network involves the possibility that the pyramid was designed as some form of transportation device. The precise engineering of its internal chambers, combined with the electromagnetic anomalies, has led some researchers to speculate that the monument may have utilized principles of physics that we haven't yet rediscovered. While such theories may sound like science fiction, they're based on rigorous analysis of documented phenomena. The energy signatures detected within the pyramid are real and measurable. The advanced materials are demonstrable through chemical analysis. The sophisticated engineering is visible in every precisely cut block. The question that haunts researchers is why such evidence is being systematically suppressed. If these discoveries represent legitimate scientific findings, why aren't they being celebrated and studied openly? The level of resistance suggests that the implications may be far more significant than what's been publicly revealed. Dr. Amanda Morrison, an independent researcher who has studied classified documents related to pyramid research, believes the suppression stems from concerns about social stability. She suggests that discoveries proving the existence of advanced ancient technologies could undermine fundamental assumptions about human progress and technological development. If ancient civilizations possessed capabilities that we're only now rediscovering, it would suggest that human knowledge isn't necessarily progressive, that advanced societies may have existed and disappeared long before recorded history began. Such revelations could fundamentally challenge modern assumptions about technological superiority and human achievement. The economic implications alone would be staggering. Industries worth trillions of dollars are built on the assumption that modern technology represents the pinnacle of human achievement. Evidence of more advanced ancient technologies could disrupt everything from energy production to transportation systems, potentially rendering entire economic sectors obsolete overnight. But beyond economic concerns lie deeper philosophical questions about human development and potential. If our ancestors possessed capabilities that we've lost, What does that say about the nature of progress itself? Are we advancing toward unprecedented achievements, or are we struggling to rediscover knowledge that was once common? Recent developments in pyramid research have taken an even more mysterious turn, with the discovery of what researchers are calling temporal anomalies within the monument's structure. Advanced scanning techniques have detected areas where electromagnetic readings don't behave according to conventional physics, suggesting that the pyramid may affect local spacetime in ways that current science cannot explain. Dr. Michael Torres, a theoretical physicist who analyzed these readings, reported finding evidence of microgravitational variations within the pyramid's chambers, variations that suggest the monument may somehow influence fundamental forces. Such effects would require technologies based on principles of physics that are only now being explored at the cutting edge of modern research. The implications of such discoveries would be revolutionary, suggesting that the pyramid's builders understood aspects of physics that we're only beginning to comprehend. If confirmed, such findings would represent perhaps the most significant scientific discovery in human history, fundamentally altering our understanding of both ancient capabilities and modern physics. But as research into these temporal anomalies intensified, Dr. Torres encountered the now familiar pattern of suppression. His laboratory funding was withdrawn, his research data was classified, and his continued investigation was effectively terminated. The aggressive response to his work suggests that the implications of these discoveries may be considered too sensitive for public knowledge. The possibility that ancient builders possessed technologies capable of manipulating fundamental forces raises questions that extend far beyond archaeology or history. If such capabilities existed in the past, why were they lost? What catastrophe or decline could have caused such advanced knowledge to disappear so completely? Some researchers suggest that the evidence points toward a cyclical pattern in human civilization: periods of advancement, followed by decline and recovery. The pyramid may represent a remnant from one of these advanced periods, surviving as a puzzle that challenges our assumptions about linear progress. This possibility aligns with growing evidence from other archaeological sites around the world that suggest periods of advanced development far earlier than conventional timelines acknowledge. From the precision engineering of Puma Punku in Bolivia to the sophisticated astronomical alignments of Nabta Playa in the Sahara, ancient sites worldwide show evidence of capabilities that conventional archaeology struggles to explain. The Great Pyramid may be the most sophisticated example of these ancient achievements, representing technology so advanced that its true purpose remains beyond our current understanding. The electromagnetic anomalies, the advanced materials, the precise engineering, all point toward capabilities that we're only beginning to rediscover. But perhaps the most troubling aspect of recent pyramid research isn't what's been discovered, but rather what appears to have been deliberately hidden. Evidence suggests that significant findings have been made and then classified or suppressed, preventing the scientific community from building upon these discoveries. Documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests reveal references to exotic materials and anomalous readings in government-funded pyramid research conducted during the Cold War era. These projects, apparently conducted in collaboration with Egyptian authorities, produced findings that were immediately classified and remain secret to this day. The possibility that critical knowledge about ancient technologies has been deliberately concealed raises profound questions about scientific transparency and the right of humanity to understand its own past. If ancient civilizations did indeed possess advanced capabilities, shouldn't this knowledge be studied openly rather than hidden away in classified archives? The pattern of suppression surrounding pyramid research has become so systematic that some researchers now believe it represents a coordinated effort to prevent certain discoveries from reaching public awareness. The consistency of the censorship, across multiple institutions and countries, suggests a level of organization that implies high-level coordination. Dr. Lisa Patterson, who has tracked suppression efforts for over a decade, documents cases where promising research projects were suddenly defunded, where researchers lost access to sites without explanation, and where scientific publications faced unusual censorship. The pattern is so consistent that it suggests deliberate policy rather than coincidental academic caution. If such coordination does exist, it raises disturbing questions about who makes decisions regarding what knowledge should be public and what should remain hidden. The implications of advanced ancient technologies might indeed be disruptive, but shouldn't humanity have the right to understand its own history and capabilities? The recent scanning revelations represent just the latest chapter in a long history of mysterious discoveries at Giza, discoveries that are made, briefly acknowledged, and then quietly suppressed. Each generation of researchers uncovers evidence that challenges conventional understanding, only to see their work dismissed or hidden by powerful institutions. But perhaps the most significant recent development has been the emergence of a global network of independent researchers who are working to preserve and share suppressed findings. Using encrypted communications and international collaboration, these researchers are building a comprehensive database of evidence that paints a picture far different from official narratives. According to this network, the pyramid represents only one element of a much larger complex of ancient technologies scattered across the globe. Sites in South America, Asia, and Africa all show evidence of similar advanced capabilities, suggesting a worldwide civilization with technological capabilities that rivaled or exceeded modern levels. The network has documented evidence of ancient machining marks on stone blocks, electromagnetic anomalies at temple sites, and acoustic properties in ceremonial chambers that suggest technological rather than purely religious purposes. The consistency of these findings across different continents hints at a connected global civilization rather than isolated regional developments. If this evidence is accurate, it would suggest that human civilization is far older and more advanced than conventional history acknowledges. The implications would extend far beyond archaeology, potentially revolutionizing our understanding of human potential and technological development. But the network also reports increasing pressure from authorities worldwide to cease their investigations. Researchers have been threatened with legal action, denied access to sites, and in some cases have faced mysterious personal and professional difficulties that appear designed to discourage continued research. The level of resistance suggests that the implications of these discoveries may be considered threats to established power structures, rather than simply academic curiosities. The possibility that ancient civilizations possessed capabilities that current institutions cannot control or understand may be seen as inherently destabilizing. As we stand at this crossroads between official suppression and emerging evidence, the question facing humanity is whether we will demand access to our own hidden history or continue to accept carefully controlled narratives. The scanning revelations at the Great Pyramid represent just the beginning of discoveries that could fundamentally transform human understanding. The choice before us is clear. We can continue to accept the limitations imposed by institutional gatekeepers, or we can demand the transparency necessary to uncover the full truth about our ancient heritage. The pyramid's secrets have waited for thousands of years. They can continue to wait, or they can finally be revealed to a humanity ready to confront its extraordinary past. The electromagnetic signatures continuing to emanate from deep within the Great Pyramid suggest that whatever technologies the ancient builders employed may still be active, waiting for us to develop the wisdom necessary to understand and appreciate their true significance. The question is whether we'll prove worthy of such knowledge, or whether it will remain locked away, protected by those who fear its implications. Recent developments suggest that the pyramid may be responding to modern technology in unexpected ways. Several independent research teams have reported that electromagnetic equipment behaves strangely when operated near the monument, sometimes producing readings that appear to be communications or responses rather than simple measurements. Dr. Catherine Williams, who leads one of these research teams, describes equipment that begins operating beyond its programmed parameters when brought into proximity with certain chambers within the pyramid. The devices seem to detect and respond to signals that shouldn't exist, suggesting that the monument may be actively interacting with modern technology. If the pyramid is indeed responding to contemporary electromagnetic equipment, it would suggest that its original purpose involved technologies that remain functional after thousands of years. Such longevity would indicate engineering capabilities far beyond anything we associate with ancient civilizations, pointing toward principles of physics and material science that we're only beginning to discover. The possibility that ancient technologies are still operational within the pyramid raises questions about what might happen if we finally develop the capability to fully understand and activate these systems. The electromagnetic anomalies and energy signatures already detected suggest that the monument may be capable of effects that we cannot yet predict or control. As scanning technologies continue to improve and independent research networks expand their investigations, the true nature of the Great Pyramid's secrets may finally be approaching revelation. Whether this knowledge brings wisdom or warning remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the conventional story we've been told about humanity's ancient past is just the beginning of a far more extraordinary truth. The pyramid stands as it always has, silent and imposing, guarding secrets that may hold the key to understanding not just where we came from, but what we might yet become. The question is whether we'll have the courage to seek these truths, regardless of where they might lead, or whether we'll continue to accept the comfortable limitations of officially sanctioned ignorance. Whatever lies hidden beneath the pyramids, whatever technologies or knowledge the ancient builders left behind, the time for revelation may finally be at hand. The secret scanning data, the suppressed research, the electromagnetic anomalies all point toward discoveries that could transform human understanding in ways we can barely imagine. The choice is ours to make, and the pyramid waits, as it has always waited, for humanity to prove itself ready for the truth.